For this industry, this logistics industry that we're in, the industry has taught a lot of people, is crazy. The industry has showed out that you can do and you can have a great lifestyle in logistics. You can make up to, I would say, shoot, you can make that $50,000 with maybe 20 hours of work. A lot of people, they don't understand that this industry has taught people to become better dispatchers, make more calls, book more loads, keep the driver rolling. That's cool. It works. But that's not how you scale. You will stay there if you try to grow in logistics. See, the future is different. The future belongs to the operators, not my dispatchers, because AI can do what you do. AI can do what a lot of us does. But think about where we are. Think about where we currently are in this economy. Watch what's happening around us. Just last week, Rock Hill showcased the Eden, I think if I said it, InRide, EIN Ride truck. Technology is changing trucks. Automation is changing the communication that we're actually experiencing in this lane. And AI is really changing how we do everything, make decisions, live our lives. See, one day there won't be any drivers. One day you will look up and you will see all, I would say, these vans driving themselves. But the thing is, they're already here. What are you doing to prepare for that? How are you going to stay valuable? How will you stay relevant? See, here's the question. If the driver, who we once thought was everything, if the driver comes out the truck, what are you going to do? How does your business continue to run? Or does your business stop because the driver is out the truck? See, that's the biggest thing. See, if your answer is yes, then guess what? You never really built a business, unfortunately. You built a dependency. See, there's a difference in dispatchers and operators because operators think differently. We build systems that actually keep the freight moving whether the driver quits or even takes a vacation. Someone still has to move that. Whether that driver gets sick or the technology changes, someone has to communicate, someone has to manage the freight. See, AI is changing the way trucks are even being driven nowadays. See, because the goal was never to dispatch a truck. The goal was to always operate a business. You can start out as a dispatcher, you can start out as a driver, but the goal is not to stay there. See, that's why I say stop dispatching and start operating, because when you operate from a system instead of people, removing the driver won't stop the show. And let me say that again. Removing the driver will not stop the show if you make or create your system correctly. So tonight, don't ask yourself, how can I become a better dispatcher? You want to ask yourself, am I building something that depends on me or something that can perform without me? Because that is the difference between a dispatcher and an operator. An operator, we think about the problems, we assess the situation before it really becomes a situation. And I'm going to tell you something. We're all using the same things, same tools. DAT, load board, brokers. That's it. That's how you win in this. But it's all about the systems behind that you have. Because if you're in a Ferrari, but guess what? That Ferrari is using 87 gas, you're not getting anywhere fast. You're not. If that Ferrari was worked on by your brother down the street who may have missed some things because, Ferraris are a little bit intricate. So if you build a system that needs you, guess what? You are an employee. There's 4 stages of growth in a business. Employee is the first stage. That's where you're doing all of the thinking. That's where you're creating your plan. The second stage, now that is where you become a builder. Being a builder means now you're moving your feet. You're doing all of the work because it's just you. The third stage, that's where you become an operator. Now we're managing the business. See, the truck driver, who got out the truck to actually learn how to dispatch the truck had to think about the plan, come up with the system, and then see if it works to then manage it. Because when you manage it, you're actually outsourcing. So when you have a truck driver or a dispatcher that's going through the 4 stages of growth, and now they're growing to the point where they can own their business, guess what? Now you're actually delegating. 4 stages of growth is going to be whether you are in taxes, credit, doctor, it's the same thing. So as a dispatcher, I'm saying this to you and to my drivers. You are an employee if you're still the main person operating your business. The first stage is employee. You're thinking about it. You're creating your plan. The second stage is builder. That's where you're actually moving your feet. The third stage is operator. That's where you're actually able to outsource because you have a system or a team. But the fourth stage, now that is the stage where everyone wants to grow to in their business, and that's called ownership. See, each stage of your business require a certain level of building and a certain level of requirements for that stage. So you can't be an employee trying to operate like the owner, trying to delegate. No, as the employee, you need to get that plan together. See, it's called formula, concentration, momentum, stability. No matter what lane, what business you work for, each company had to go through the same thing. From Harpo to Verizon to Steve Jobs. I figured it out. I've looked at this 10 ways to Sunday. This is where, in logistics, guess what? As an operator, you can take the driver out. I'm still going to make the money. You can take the driver out. I'm still going to run the business. You can take the driver out. I'm still going to be the person that's operating the business. But a dispatcher, if you take the driver out, they're going to say, what do I do? How do I run this? How can I actually operate this business without the driver? Guess what? The language in logistics is about to change if it hasn't already. The way we go about things is about to change. This is why I created the AI Freight Coach, because now we're moving to... Back in the day, we had the horse and carriage that went from horse and carriage to car, and now look where we are. Back then, don't you think when they actually had horse and carriage that people were freaking out when cars came out? So now that we have faceless trucks, and I would say the box trucks that's actually able to run without the driver, what do you think people are going to do? They're going to freak out some more. But guess what? Logistics are still going to run. People are still going to get products off the boat into their household. Elon Musk was right. He is about to disrupt the system. And it's unfortunate because he wants to pay everyone this one blank check, right? But when you make it where people don't have to work, we're not going to stimulate the economy with this one check. So you have to find yourself more valuable. So if you are a truck driver and they're coming out with faceless trucks, what are you going to do? You're going to become an operator of one of those faceless trucks. They're already implementing this in 2 small fleets, which means it's only within a matter of a year or less than a year before they transition to where now everyone can have access to a faceless truck. Why? Because you are going to have different types of gas stations or more of a hybrid. So think about the other lanes where you can produce and create value. If you are in logistics and you want to make money with or without a driver in that truck, guess what? You should become the Airbnb of that industry, because warehouses for logistics are just the same as an Airbnb home. The only difference is you don't have to hire a cleaner to come in and clean it. You just have to keep the lights on and then hire a crew to actually take the freight off the truck and stock it up. You can call any Amazon, any Best Buy in your location and say, hey, I have extra storage. Do you need that? That's called supplying warehouse. That's the second lane in logistics to make money. The third lane is going to be renting out that equipment to the government or even businesses. Guess what? A lot of people want trucks, but they don't want to pay for them. A lot of people want to make money from trucks, but they don't want to pay for them. So what do? You take the truck that you paid for, that you have a note on, and instead of you putting your body out there, let's take this to government, SEM.gov, and let's go ahead and win a couple of government contracts so we can rent out that truck. You pay $50 for it, but guess what? That contract was for $60K on a repeated basis. So imagine you are able to take the truck that you once was trying to figure out what you were going to do with it and leverage it. See, leverage is something that many people are not aware of. Leverage is something that people don't know how to take and utilize within their own lane. Leverage comes in different entities. It looks different for different people depending on your lane. But if you're in logistics, you're going to need to leverage something because, baby, guess what? That truck, that's your operation. That's your ship. But that driver, what are you going to do if you are a driver and they no longer need you? It's the same thing as a dispatcher. If you're not needed, what are you going to do? Guess what? I created a system where you can grow with the technology. See, AI doesn't have to replace your dispatcher. It can actually teach your dispatcher. That's why I created the AI Freight Coach. And that's going to come out soon. Because I want my dispatchers to still feel relevant. Because even if a person had a truck that ran without a driver, guess what? They don't know how to operate it. They don't know how to operate the system that it's going to take. So there's still a huge and a steep learning curve. But the way it's looking before 2030, baby, we're going to be faceless trucks everywhere. And that's the sad part, because there are some drivers that's really trying to provide for their families out there through logistics, because this is the only industry that gives you true freedom. That's time and money freedom, because in here, we don't work for each other. We work with each other. See, if you were to do hair, you have competition. Next person. If you were to do credit, guess what? Competition. Dispatchers, we do the same thing. Same thing. But there's a reason why some people are making six figures and other people are not. We use the same tools, but there's a reason why some people are actually able to get their work done in 4 hours while others are taking 16 hours. There's a reason for all of this, and I'm trying to tell you, I eliminated the operational deadhead in the workload, and that's why my system is different from other dispatchers. I'm not saying I'm better. No, I'm saying I took more time to be more strategic, because everyone, guess what? We're going to book the load. We're going to call the broker. We're going to tell the driver where to pick up. The mechanics hasn't changed in years. And just because you take the driver out and AI comes in, the mechanics are still going to be the same. But guess what is different? How you operate. See, dispatching, that's the baseline of the skill set. The operator, oh baby, you've grown from employee to builder to operator to owner, because now as the owner, you know what the hell you're doing. You don't have to get your hands dirty. You've already done that. You don't have to put your feet to work. No. We've already put our feet. We don't need to think. When you create a business, is it only me, or does it take a lot of mental capacity? Seriously, have you ever created a business and tried to scale between each one? It's like trying to grow, not knowing that you're in the process of growing. It's frustrating and what makes you want to pull your hair out. That's why I created the system, so you can win faster, win big, win bigger, hire the right carrier, even if we don't have carriers, guess what you're going to need? You're going to need the right truck. You're going to need the right system within that truck to communicate, to scale your business. Because if in 5 years we have no more drivers, how are you going to take your business from employee to ownership with no drivers? And you've never dispatched for yourself. You may think it looks simple. Oh, let me go ahead and book a freight. No problem. I got that freight. I'm going to do it again. Oh, I can do. Okay, but can you make $10,000 on a weekly basis? Can you take that to $12,000? Can you bring other people in? Can you scale? Do you know the sequence of the steps that you need to take? Do you know the connections? Do you know how to get your money if you're a broker ghosts you? If a broker said, I'm not paying you at all. If a broker said, you know what, I'm going to collect more than my pay. Do you know what you're doing? Not too many people know these things. And that's exactly why I created GLU University, because I wanted people to stop thinking. I have worked for every company it feels like in their sales and marketing department. I've worked in factories. I've worked outdoors doing door-to-door sales. 9 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, I was in somebody's house knocking, closing a deal. I was tired. I even worked from home, and I thought, oh, that's simple, it's easy. Nah. Whenever you work for somebody, you will always be on their time. I'm going to say it again, because your time don't matter. What you have to do don't matter. Your kids having to be sick, it doesn't matter. Whenever you work for someone, You are on their time. And that right there makes a big difference, because that shows you how valuable you are. They don't care if you're sick. Can you come in? They don't care if your kids got pink eye. Can you come in? They don't care if it's your anniversary. Can you come in is what they say. So why not just create your own lane that gives you financial stability, freedom, and flexibility. See, flexibility is difficult. You can work from home, but that doesn't mean you can eat whenever you want. No, especially if you work for someone else. Flexibility means whether my child is in the background screaming, do you want this load? Hey, I can't hear you. What? My kid is talking to me. My driver can be there in 5 minutes. That's what I need, because I have a life that won't shut up just because I'm doing business with you. See, I got kids. When you have kids and a husband in the house, and then your stomach is talking to you and your kids want to talk to you, you can't really be focused on just one thing. You have to be focused on everything. So that flexibility within your job has to give you the ability to move like an octopus. You can touch this, touch. You have to have flexibility in your job. If you work from home, can you do multiple things at once? Nah. You either have to be in front of a computer or on the phone. Whether you're doing sales, IT, you have to be either in front of the computer or on the phone. That's not flexibility. See, with dispatching, I was on the phone. I didn't have to be in front of my computer because I ran my business to the point where I can actually create it where I did not need to be on a computer. I can be on my phone, searching DAT. I can be in the store. So I learned that, man, I need flexibility. If I didn't have dispatching, I think I would still be in sales trying to make it work. And sales was great. Don't get me wrong, I was making close to 6 figures. But baby, my time was nowhere near 6 figures. My time was, I was strapped tight. Shoot, I worked from 12 to 9, and then I worked dispatch from 12 to 2. And then I woke up at 6 a.m., sometimes 5, to be with my daughter. So it's like, what time did I have for myself? What time was I able to hang out? And whenever I did hang out, I possibly fell asleep or I wasn't a good friend. So I learned through the hardships that this was worth fighting for. See, I've done everything, even network marketing. And the one thing I liked about it was it showed me what freedom was. If I can swipe my card and if I can go whenever I wanted to go, that's freedom. Because if you can swipe your card, who's stopping you? If you can go wherever you want to go, who's going to tell you no? That you're going to listen to. So when you have something that gives you that, but flexibility, you're winning. You have what they call a slice of heaven. And that heaven can give you peace, restoration. It can give you a lifestyle that you design, that you can feel like you can actually live. How many people out there is working a job that's not really conducive to your lifestyle? How many people have to wake up early when in actuality you are a late morning person? How many people who can't really get off at 5 o'clock when in actuality you want to be out the door at 5 o'clock and in your route on home by 5:15? Because some jobs make it where at 5 o'clock you still have more work. When it's like, I only signed up for 9 to 5, not 9 to 5:15, not 9 to 10. So it's like that flexibility. It makes it where you can't really move. You feel like, I'm on your time. I'm a child because I got to ask you, can I take this day off? Hell to the no. I'm not asking. I feel like companies fail to realize what it was like to be a person, because companies were created by people who said, let's come together and make something better. When you think about that, the companies became too big. And when they became too big, they forgot that people really do matter. That's why Elon, a person like him, he said, we don't need the people. Let's just have the robots. And if you do that, then guess what? You're going to stop the economy. The robots do the work, and then the people do nothing. How are we making money? So, see, some people, they found value in certain things like Link or Afterpay. See, they didn't create the banks. Guess what they did? Link said, I will be the person that steps in front of the bank door and you pay me and I make sure the bank is paid. They didn't create PNC. They didn't create Chase. But Link is now an entity that you see on every payout. Isn't that interesting? I mean, look at Uber. They didn't create taxis. Excuse me. It's so funny. Uber actually took taxis out the scenario. They said people drive. Why do we need taxis? So let's create something where a person uses their vehicle. Why? It reduces liability and they take ownership if something happens. It's all about the system. See, Netflix followed Redbox, who was following Blockbuster, who was following the trend of that era. But when the trend changed, guess what? Blockbuster said, I am not trying to be a Redbox. We're Blockbuster. We're going to stay the same. And then Netflix came and said, we're not Redbox. We don't want to have to worry about the distribution of the movies. Guess what? Netflix didn't create movies. Redbox didn't create movies. They licensed it. They became the middleman. And when you're the middleman, guess what? All the money has to flow from you to somebody else, but you're getting a piece of it. So if you can communicate with a driver to say, hey, pick up this place, this freight at this location, don't touch anything. And if you can communicate with the broker, hey, I want that load for that rate, then baby, you can make a lot of paperweight over here because one truck can equate to $4,000 a month. So one truck is $4,000 and $4,000 gets you 20 hours worth of a work week. Are you winning? I think so, because with that 20 hours, you were working 160 a month. You were working double with either the same pay or less. So how would you not win in this? If you have the right system, if you have the right infrastructure. Let's take you out that job. Because one, we both know you don't like it. Two, you don't want to learn something that's going to take you all day long. We don't. We want to be able to get in, get out, and let's get to the money. So $1,000 per truck per week, can you do that? Absolutely. You follow my system, you're going to be right. You're going to create a legacy. And more than that, you're going to have generational wealth because logistics isn't going anywhere. It's changing, but it's not going anywhere. Freight will still get off those trucks, whether we touch it or not, whether a person delivers it or not. We're still going to receive our products because they've trained us to be consumers. We can't go back in the day where we can go out in the field and just rough it and tough it. Some, but not everyone. So for those people who are tired of their jobs, I'm not selling dispatching. I'm using dispatching to free you from that rat race. The race of being in traffic. Oh my gosh, I hate traffic. It makes me want to shake a person. Like, what are you doing driving so slow in front of me? Stop it. Go sit down. Who wants to do that? It makes you say, I would prefer to work from home. Why? So I can wear what I want to wear. And even in dispatching, yes, you don't want to be on the phone snacking in front of your broker. No, but you do have the option to snack after that call. So there's a difference. It gives you freedom. And if I can help anyone get in this lane and do it faster and better, I won. It's not about the money. It's not about the exposure. It's how can I help you come out from that job? Because I've been there. And it's crazy. I've been working ever since I was 9. And I'm like, man, who created the system for working? Henry Ford created the 5 days on, 2 days off when that doesn't work for me. I'm automatically trained with Tuesday as Monday. And it's been like that since college. See, we have to have systems that work for us. So systems make it where we can actually live our life the way we want to live. Maybe the job that you're working is not the right system for the lifestyle that you're wanting. Maybe, just maybe, that relationship that you're questioning or that person that you may be trying to see, if it's not a good feeling, then baby, that system may not be for you. If the money that you're bringing in doesn't make you feel like you are valuable, baby, See, value is something that I don't play with because with value, you have to give time, you have to give energy, and those are things that you can't get back. See, you can fill your cup up. You can't fill that time bank up. Nah. Once you use it, that's it. Once you use your energy, it's over. You can try and rest or listen to some music to gain some more energy, but if God calls you home, that's it. So I say that to say, if you're thinking about something else, I will look into dispatching because it's simple. All you need is a phone, a freight, and a truck. If you're trying to see, can you make this work? If I can do it without any experience and $200, I was able to turn that into six figures within 12 months. I was that determined and I was that serious. I had 24 carriers within my first month and then I quit my job. I had that job for a while. I was making close to six figures. My base was 60. My commissions were 10 to 15. I quit that job after 1 month of dispatching. And I was still in class. And I took a self-paced course at that. Why would I walk away from a job that was a security blanket for something that was not really so secure? Because I wanted my time back and I had a proven system. Within the first month, I figured out how to make $1,000 per truck per week. So if we had 25 carriers, that was $25,000 every week. At the end of the month, I was about to get fired, and then I fired them. And I asked my husband, I said, why don't you come home and work this business with me? And we did. And within 1 year, we were shocked. We were tired as hell because we didn't know what we were doing. And I barely learned. And I know I didn't teach him because I said, talk to a broker, say these three things, and that's it. And it created a rift in our marriage because I didn't teach him right. Eventually, it created a rift because he's like, you left so much out. Because the business, once it started rolling, it kept rolling. I even had two brokers come to me and say, hey, can you build my brokerage firm? But I said yes. And that's another thing. Stop saying yes when God didn't tell you to. Stop chasing that money when God is saying that's not your money. Sometimes money flows through you. It's not always supposed to stay with you. It's supposed to go through you to someone else. See, me saying yes to those brokerage firms when I was already hot, rolling, like, man, we went from employee to momentum fast. That was a good problem to have, but baby, that was still a problem that you have to navigate through because if I didn't grow through that, you wouldn't see me today. I would have crumbled. I wouldn't have had any systems. I wouldn't have been able to prove anything. And from there, I was now able to turn my life around because I signed up for another job without knowing it. Whenever you create a business, you sign up for another job until you turn it into a business because it's the work ethic and the pay ethic that will show you, hey, this is a business where you can actually fall back to a degree. While that job, you have to come every week, no matter how good you were last week, no matter what sales you made the previous week, you have to show up. So I want to help some people stop showing up for those people. Why? Because the more you show up for that job, the less you show up for yourself. And I say that because I was there in those shoes. I wasn't showing up for myself because I was showing up for these jobs. I noticed something about me. I said, wait a second, I'm helping other people make money, but I haven't taken my words and actually put them into play. And when I did, baby, we took off. We took off. And I say that because it wasn't me. It was me pouring and believing into God. Because when you believe that God is covering you, you don't have to worry about where your next meal is coming from, where your next deal is coming from, because God covers you 100%. It's scary as hell, don't get me wrong. But when you know that God has always been there for you, you're not so afraid. You just say, God, show me the way. And that's what he did. He showed me the way through dispatching. He showed me that, okay, this is how I want you to teach, because I started noticing people were giving wrong information. They were also lying, and it was no growth coming from the people who experienced this. I said, how are you taking someone else's dispatching course, but they can teach you how to find your carriers? That doesn't make sense. How are you in a truck for 10 years and you don't know how to get out that truck? You're doing something wrong. Your lifestyle depends on it because you're putting your body out there on the road. So if you want to learn from me, go to my website, gluniversity.net. I have put a lot of time into the systems that I created. We're not just bringing content to you guys. We're also bringing the systems that we've utilized to be successful. On top of that, we're bringing the framework. See, I told you how to get to dispatching, freight, phone, and truck. Now, how do you take that and turn it into six figures? You have to have the right systems, because your systems will determine how much time you're spending to get the job done. See, we were spending a lot of time to make a lot of money. Then I said, how can we make a lot of money in half the time? Give me all that money in a fourth of the time. So you have to, for me, comb out the kinks to eliminate the dead head. So Cam, if you're interested, Pocky, if you're interested, go ahead, go to GLU University and sign up, because logistics is not going anywhere. There's your financial stability right there. Logistics is going to be around whether the driver's in that truck or not. You're still going to get your hair off that truck. You're still going to get your milk and your bread, your clothes. Everything is coming off of a truck. So why not operate the truck? You don't need to own one. You can just operate it. See, operating makes it where you eliminate the risk of the big overhead and the risk of the capital that you have to put down, because a faceless truck, I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna be a minimum of 180,000 minimum to maybe 250 plus. A box truck around $30 to 50,000. You see how there's a huge difference in the numbers, but guess what? You should have one of each. Why? So no matter which way the market turns, you can start always eat. You never want your money to stop. And that's why I chose logistics. See, sales, the money eventually stops. See, when I was working for AT&T, I was knock on so many doors, sign up so many people, but my money stopped if the technician didn't show up. And I said, stop. I did my part. I don't care if they didn't do the work. I did my part. I want to get paid. And that's how I operate. If I work, I want to get paid. And that's how logistics is. You don't not get paid for the work that you do. You always get paid for the work that you do. You just have to know when and where to get your money from. Because if you do a deal with a bad broker, no problem. I will show you how to get your money, because I've been there and it's not easy. And I had to chew some heads off, but I was chewing, because you're not going to steal from me and think that's okay. You're not going to steal from my carriers and think that's okay. So dispatching, it gives you the flexibility. So much flexibility. After my second baby, an hour later, I was on the phone with my driver because he was on the road. Imagine coming out of labor in so much pain. And now all of a sudden, you're telling me now I have to call on a load? No, did I want to do that? But I'm glad I had the flexibility to do that, because if I was working a job, guess what? I would have had to beg for that time off or to explain why I couldn't work. See, dispatching, I can pick up the phone and I can shut it off. And that's exactly I want to give to you guys, that flexibility of making the decision, deciding, not allowing someone to decide for you. So I thank you for sitting with me through my GLU moment. It's been such a pleasure. If you're interested in learning from me and learning the logistics in education, freight dispatching, we are connected to other lanes: hot shot, box truck, flatbeds, power only, dry vans, sprinter vans, brokerage, towing. We're connected to all of the lanes. So we want to make sure that we can actually bring you guys more value, not just more information. It's been a pleasure speaking with all of you. My name is Catherine. I am the founder of GLU University. I look forward to seeing all of you in my class. Go to my website at gluniversity.net to sign up today. Thank you.